Welcome to the Fabulous Life. We are at day 4 of our 21-day challenge to supercharge your investment returns. And I am here once again with the awesome ladies, Tanya and Elizabeth. Welcome.
Good night, everyone.
Hi. Good evening. Hi, Denise, Tanya, and
Hi.
our listeners.
Right. And so we are going to be continuing on using NLP techniques
Mhm.
to deal with our mindset. And so I just wanted to give you guys the opportunity to just remind everybody what NLP means. So
Tanya,
who all right.
go for it, Tanya.
So, NLP. So, that stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. So, what in the world does that really mean? So, when we think about neuralistic, so what are the words or the things that would come in our mind and the language that we use? So, that's where the linguistic piece comes up. So, it's basically the language that we use in our mind to either speak to others, but also how we speak to ourselves, which then in turn can dictate the behavior or the way that we do things. So that's in a nutshell what NLP stands for. And at the end of this session, we'll be able to tell you about a great program that we have available for you that will give you some more details on NLP and the techniques that will just take your life in a whole new direction that you never thought was possible.
That sounds
Yeah,
sexy.
and ignite your 221
Right.
for
And
sure.
we've been, for days, we've been handing out workbooks. And don't worry if you're in the replay, we have our workbooks stored for you so you will not be left out.
Nope.
And therefore, we continue. And as I said, we're up here looking at mindset because that's really in the humble opinion I think of the three of us here, the foundation of a
Mhm.
fabulous life. Because if you're in a fog, and wow, the last 12 months have been a fog for many. If you're in a fog, what you really need are the tools. You need a support in
Mhm.
order to shift. So, Liz, let's talk about the fourth concept you want to bring out.
Yeah. So I just want to take a quick recap of the 3 days that we have done, just to remind our listeners what we have been through. So the first day we talked about our self-esteem and self-concept, which is the very core of our reality, because our reality is very subjective, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in today's module on self-talk. So the self-concept and self-esteem as being critical to getting the results you want in any area of your life. And then we spoke about thoughts and those very strong thoughts that we keep on thinking over and over again that become convictions, which we call beliefs. And so we spoke about that and how to challenge and interrogate these assumptions that we make about life and about how it works. We talked about on day 3 our emotions and how we can help to detox ourselves from these negative feelings that we're carrying from the past. I call it emotional baggage that we need to put down. And today, to cap it all, we are going to be focusing on self-talk. So self-talk is the fourth day. So this slide is dealing with self-concept, Denise. So if you can move down the slides to day 4, then that was your thoughts and your feelings, and today is your self-talk. So the first thing I want to give some attention to is the fact that we all have a subjective experience of life. Now, you may be wondering, well, what on earth does that mean, really? So, what I mean to say is that everyone's experience of life is subject to all of the filters that we have developed over the years of our life. And those filters are our belief systems, or meta programs, the way our personality has been formed, or memories, or experiences, or values. All of those become like a filtration system through which our experiences are built. So when we filter through that, we end up deleting, distorting, and generalizing in order to be able to make sense of the world, because there is so much information out there. We are only taking in a very minute portion. And it is said that there are approximately 11 million bits per second of information that is flying at us, and we are at a conscious level only able to deal with 126 bits per second. So you can see we're going from a huge amount of information down to a very, 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 very small portion of that information that we are aware of at a conscious level. So what does that mean? That means that reality is very subjective and very dependent on those filters that we have in our head that we've developed over time. Denise, you have a question?
Yes, I do. We have had some feedback in the
Mm-hmm.
community, in the Fab Life community, when you talk about, well, nobody's using the term subjective reality, but that's
Mm-hmm.
what it works out to be.
Yeah.
Because, for example, someone will say, I've drifted in my career for
Mm-hmm.
years. You know, I was in this job and then this other job came up and I applied and then I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I never really had a career plan. And I've just gone, from job to job and I've drifted. And I feel like I've missed out
Mm-hmm.
on opportunities. I feel like I've missed out on growth. And now I've found myself, I'm 48
Mm-hmm.
and what do I do next? Because I've been working since I was 17 and I'm now 48 and I don't have a clue how I got here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
And then so it's almost like, I'm okay, I have like a plan for my kids. I want my kids to go to university. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with my marriage. I'm okay, but with my career, I feel like I'm missing out. So my question then is, with someone who is in a space like that,
Mm-hmm.
so they're relatively satisfied with their marriage and their kids and other areas of their life, but in terms of their career and this feeling that they've missed out, is it that, as you said, it just what you said, distorted, deleted, and removed so much from their awareness as a way to just cope?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, generally speaking, we are all going to delete, distort, and generalize. It's a
Okay.
natural process. Okay, so it's, don't beat up on yourself that I've deleted and distorted and generalized. No, we all do it. The point is, though, that and this is where the importance of having a direction and goal and vision for yourself in every area of your life is so important. Because if we don't, we can simply just jump on the bandwagon of whatever opportunity just seems to pass in front of us without giving any thought to, is this really satisfying my true values, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Because your values are really important, and most of those values are at an unconscious level, so we're not aware of them. And
Right.
sometimes we might be driven by just one value, which might be, for example, oh, I want to make some more money. And so that can satisfy us for a period of time, but it won't necessarily satisfy us at a deep level. Because when we get the money, it's not really about the money, it's more about the feeling that we get from having the money. So it could
Okay.
be more about the comfort and the security, or it could be simply the freedom that it allows me. Hmm? So, I mean, that's why in NLP we say that, you can actually have any state that you want. Those things that we want in terms of our goals are essentially a means to an end. The things give us a certain feeling, a certain state, as we call it, a certain state of being. And when we have that state of being, those are the things that are really connected to our deepest values. So the car and the house and the, the travel and so forth, they are really representing, if you will, they're a proxy, leading us towards a fulfillment of deeper values that we have. And if we haven't explored those deeper values, then often what happens is that we, as I said, we just jump on the bandwagon. We say, oh, yeah, this job is going to give me some more money, and we follow it. And then we find we're not satisfied at the end of the day, and we feel adrift because our deeper values have not been recognized, and we're not making decisions based on those values.
I understand.
Hmm?
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
So
All
let me
right.
put it back to the slide. Okay.
Indeed. So talking about your subjective experience and the fact that, our reality is really very subject to the kinds of filters that we have built up over the years. In other words, our programming. And so it's important to recognize that. Why? Because it means that there are so many other possibilities and ways of thinking that we just simply have deleted, distorted, or generalized. We've done away with them, and we can bring them into our experience by paying attention to our thoughts, and to, in today's module, to what we are actually speaking about and saying to ourselves. So when we have, all of these thoughts that are going around in our head, some of us are not listening very carefully. We're not really aware that there is this mind chatter. Some people call it the monkey mind, right? There is this mind chatter that keeps on going on in our mind all the time. And sometimes it's louder. Generally, when we're about to make a big decision, or we just made a boo-boo, and a voice says, "Oh, you idiot," or "You're so stupid," or "You could never do that." So these are the things that we need to start paying attention to. Why? Because it is that little voice that will direct our feeling. So we wonder, why is it I'm feeling so bad? And maybe we don't even put an actual feeling name on it, but we just know that we're not feeling in alignment. Yeah, we're feeling out of alignment with ourselves, and we say, wow, I wonder what that is. And then when we kind of trace it back, we realize, oh, that happened, and I told myself this. So even though I made a mistake, it doesn't have to be the end of the world, It's just, something, a mistake, MISS-TAKE. That's really
Right.
what it is. Which
Yes.
means it's
But
like
that's
a
so
show, you
forgiving.
can do it again.
That's so forgiving to yourself. I really like that.
Yes.
Yeah, just think of it as a mistake. And
Yeah.
as in the movies, you can, shoot again and
Mm.
and do it all over. So that's important, that we recognize that that voice, first of all, that we really identify and become aware of it, because we can't change anything that we're not aware of. So the first step in monitoring your self-talk is to become aware of what that little voice is saying, right? So
And
that's
it's
the
a
first
it's a nagging, incessant voice.
thing. Yeah. It certainly can be very annoying, and sometimes very derogatory.
Mm-hmm.
We are often our worst critics. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we need to stop self-flagellating, and really say, yeah, so that wasn't the greatest thing that I did there, but hey, it's better than I did yesterday.
Yes.
Or,
Yes.
I've made a little improvement, and yeah, what is it I need to learn from this? Even that.
Oh
That's
yeah.
it. And I'm
Yes.
growing.
Yeah.
I'm growing
That
and
that
learning.
I've really absorbed or taken on that in
Mhm.
terms of what it is. What is it? What's the lesson? That's been something I've used a lot. All right. So let me put it back the PowerPoint.
Yes. So good. So the next point, Tanya, would you like to take that one?
Sure. So the first point under the steps.
Second one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So One of the things that you can do as a way to also kind of monitor your self-talk, you can take a notebook. So I just have a notebook here.
Mhm.
Just take a page in your notebook, fold it in half, and on one side, so the left-hand side, you're going to write down all the things that you used to say about yourself. So think about those most common tracks that you run in your mind to yourself, or that you say to yourself most often. So an example that I've put here is like, I can't make the change that I want to I can't make the change I want towards moving to the life that I want. So that's an example of something that I used to say to myself. And then rewording it or reframing it is that what we call in NLP. So reframing it to something more positive. So what can I say to myself, or what do I say to myself now? So an example in this column is, I am more than capable and empowered to design the life that I want. So it really has to be something that is true for you. So when I think about that, I'm more than capable to design the life that I want. That is true for me because I really believe that I have that power because I've done it before. I've made a change in my life previously of something that I couldn't do, and I know that I'm capable of doing it. So that's something that I say to myself now. Anytime that I come up with this negative thought around, oh, I can't design the life that I want. Yeah, you can. You're more than capable. So it's just, as Liz said, becoming aware of the words that we're using, what we're saying to ourselves, and then looking at the positive reframe, and then that also changes your state and how you feel and makes you also feel better about yourself. So that's something that we can do for the second step, which is under using a journal. So just using a journal. What I used to do sometimes as well is doing a little activity. Like sometimes I'll write down, okay, what's one positive thing I'm going to say to myself today? And I'll write it on a sticky and even put it either in my journal or I'll put it on my mirror in my bathroom when I'm brushing my teeth. And I find that it's like, oh yeah, I am amazing.
So Tanya, can we compare journals? See, I have mine here. Yeah. And let me tell you what I did, because I'm really, the voices in my head, they're loud. I put art stuff and I have stickers.
Wow. She's an artist,
I mean, I have gone to town with my voices in my head.
Oh, that's great, Denise. Fantastic.
That.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
Yeah, so I'm fully endorsing journals. Fully endorsing. And stickers and crayons and all of that good stuff.
And I know that one of our coaches, Denise, she's going to do a whole session. Her 4-day challenge would be around, accessing your creative self. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And of course, at the end, tomorrow, we're going to hand over to Andrea.
Yes.
Coach Andrea, and she's going to be, dealing with the wellness aspect.
All right, so we'll be having Coke and chips and
No, not around Andrea. No. She's gonna fix your business.
Fruits.
All right, let me put up the PowerPoint again. All right, here we go.
So great. So the final tip we have for you in terms of managing your voice in your head is actually a very cool NLP technique. And we use this technique whenever we want to change our internal representation. So let me explain what that is. It really is that our experience of our life, of events around us, is really based on the sensory data that we take in, meaning what we see, what we hear, and what we feel, and of course what we taste and smell as well. But generally it's those three, so visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. And then we form a little internal representation of the experience. Some of them are, more imagery, some of them have, audio attached to them, and some of course have a feeling. And so that becomes our internal representation. So in order to change our reaction to situations, what we do is manipulate and change our internal representation. So For example, if you have this voice in your head that is saying a particular thing, like, I can't possibly achieve that goal, then listen to it carefully. You may find it sounds like somebody you know. Maybe it's your mom that was particularly critical of you. And so you hear that voice in your head, Denise. Have I hit something there? Yeah, so it can be something like that, right? You hear that voice. So if it sounds like somebody you know, then the first thing you can do is to change the voice. You can make it sound humorous, for example. You could change the sound of it to, I don't know, Alvin and the Chipmunks, that very crazy, funny little voice, or Donald Duck, or some voice that you just find so completely, bizarre. You wouldn't pay any attention to it if it told you something, right? So
Right.
change the voice. You can also change the tone. For example, if the tone is very high pitched and sort of demanding, you could change the tone of that voice to a very low pitch, and change the volume, perhaps make it very soft. Just make it very different to how it is now. Because 10 chances to 1, if you do that, it will have a completely different effect on you. And you just simply won't take it very seriously. You can, because normally that voice is somewhere that you notice it's inside of you, somewhere. Some people might say it's in their head. Some people might say it's somewhere, maybe in their throat, or maybe they feel it in their body. So another thing you can do with that voice is to literally figure out where exactly it is, and to take it and remove it and put it, make it small and dark, put it down by your foot and give it a good swift kick so that it's completely outside of your body. I mean, I know these things sound a little crazy at first, but try it. Do the exercise, and you will find that you have a different feeling about that voice in your head, and that you can better manage your reaction to it. So that's just a little NLP tip that you can use. Change up that voice that
Yes.
you're hearing.
Right. And I tell you, it's very important that we have these tools and techniques, because we're all, if I have learned nothing out of last year, I've learned how we have different lives.
Mhm.
I mean, you go to church and you don't think about it until the government says you can't go to church. And so where is your spiritual life? So
Yeah.
now you've got to have that conversation with yourself.
Mhm.
Or, there's a health, issue of engaging with people in your social network. So now you have
Mhm.
to have that engagement with yourself, of who are you as a social person. And it's like each layer of yourself you
Mhm.
have to look at.
Yes.
You have to create strategies for.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait, where do I get the help? Where do I get the strategies from?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, one of the things you can do is go for coaching.
Yeah.
So, for persons who have enjoyed, have benefited from, and are interested in learning more about how they can unlock their potential, we have a program, Tanya and myself, that starts in April, which is called Unlocking Your Leadership Superpowers Coaching Program. And that is a group coaching program, and it's designed to help you achieve better outcomes, results in your life, in any area of your life that you decide is really important to you, and to eliminate limiting beliefs. So we actually dive deeper into this aspect of limiting beliefs and use some techniques to help you get rid of them, and help you to be more certain about yourself and the decisions that you make, so that you can go forth in the world with a feeling of confidence, even though there is quite a bit of uncertainty. techniques to act more resourcefully and creatively. Because at the end of the day, we always want to access those internal resources that we have. So our belief is that really and truly, we have every resource that we need within us in order to achieve any result that we want. It's not an approach of we're broken and we got to fix it. No, we have internally all the resources that we need. The only difference is, and the reason why you may need coaching or training, is that you haven't learned how to access those resources yet. So we are here to help you make that connection.
Can I jump in and say that again, back to my whole, the unraveling and unfolding of yourself. I don't know if persons, this is my humble opinion. I don't know if persons should do coaching because they necessarily feel like they don't know what to do. I think coaching is such an important sounding board because you may be a very intelligent person, a very well educated person, but the environment that you find yourself in is not, you don't have any supporters. You don't have a cheerleading squad, basically. And so to have a safe space where you can, I've been reading where now some women are saying, look, this is part of my budget. You know, I mean, I have a coach as part of my budget because I'm going to budget and have a coach and get my hands held where I need it, or I'm going to crash and need it
Crash and burn.
away. You know what I mean? A bigger, more expensive way. And then by that time, I'm so confused and twisted up to unravel, as opposed to having someone along the way
Yes.
and having that sounding board. So I think I would like to see a sort of mindset coming out of a 2020 going into 2021 where people say, this is I
It's a
want
priority. It's just
my
part of what I
own,
need to do.
yeah, I want
Yeah.
my own support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, and I said that, yes, I'm biased, I'm a coach, but I
Yeah.
think coaches should have coaches. So yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
I just really
Absolutely.
look at it that way, that there has to be a shift away from saying that, oh, I'm going to make all the decisions of my life on my own without anybody. Because sometimes you don't necessarily need somebody to say, okay, do A, B, and C. You need somebody to say, well, how did you feel when you did A, B, and C already? And maybe help you to do A, B, and C better.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
And so,
and
go ahead, Daniel.
And just to add on to your point, Denise, like when we think about coaches, they're also going to ask us those questions to get us to rethink, but not only think, but think in a different way. Because we deal with ourselves all the time. We are not going to ask ourselves those questions.
Exactly.
Asking us the questions, like how many times have we had, things that were going on in our mind and we're like, we keep coming back with the same solution. And then we go and we sit with a coach and they ask us questions that we just get us to be more curious and to think in a different way. It's so powerful. It's life-changing.
It is. And to just wrap up, I mean, and I'm definitely going to put up the contact information while I'm talking, but I think a lot of us have been trained to be victims. And so coaching moves you out of that victim space. So, that's another opinion I have. So Liz, if I want to talk to you, what's happening on this PowerPoint slide?
Okay, so if persons are interested, not just in the group coaching, which is the offer that I mentioned earlier, but in exploring individual coaching perhaps, then you can book a sort of discovery session with myself, with Tanya, at these areas here, contact information. The WhatsApp number is there. You can call me if it's a local call and you want to ring me, or email at nlptrainingjamaica@gmail.com and just get in touch with us. Just talk with us, see what it is that you really want and how we can help you fulfill that need, because we're all about helping people fulfill their potential. And we're here to challenge you when you need challenging, to support you in your continued growth and development, and
Yeah.
ultimately live happily, not ever after, but to live, with a certain
To learn
sense
to
of
live,
freedom.
learn
Yeah,
to live, to
Yes.
it's like
learn to.
life skills.
And so again, I want to thank you, Liz, Tanya, for the 4 days. It's been awesome.
It was
Again,
wonderful
you
to be
will be
here.
those in the replay. If you're not on our email list, if you not haven't reached out to Liz, reach out to Liz, reach out to me. I will send you the the workbook. I'm sorry, it's very, very deep workbook. And again, just stay with us. We continue. So we were going to have Dr. Andrea Harriet coming up in the next 4 days. It's going to be awesome.
Exciting.
We, really appreciate it. I know she's going to tell me which soda I can have every single day.
You'll be lucky.
Right. But no, definitely we're looking at wellness because, we're really looking at the foundations of your life. So we're doing mind and then body. And so again, thank you for watching and thank you, coaches, for being with us. And of course, we want you to ignite your fabulous life.